Hi, this is CSC716Popko, and I am doing a presentation on the Secure Software Engineering Initiatives. This is for CSC716 at Dakota State University. So to start off the discussion, we need to talk about software vulnerabilities. So a lot of code today has defects, which can lead to different security vulnerabilities in production, which is definitely an issue. And one big question is, how are we going to deal with this? Well, ENISA, which is the European Network and Information Security Agency, put together a comprehensive list of security initiatives that are currently available that we can use to discuss all the different options out there for security currently. So to start with, we have the open source initiatives, and open source has a lot of advantages, which different developers can add to it, and everyone can see what's going on. It's very interactive in that way. One such initiative is OWASP, which is the Open Web Application Security Project, which they mainly deal with application security as a people, process, and technology problem. Because according to OWASP, the most effective approaches to application security include improvements in all of these areas. So yeah, and they have quite a few chapters all throughout the European Union and all throughout the world, which it's another advantage of the open source, is that you can have a wide community. Additionally, there's also the IEEE Computer Society, which main purpose are scientific, literary, and educational character. They just produce several documents that are very useful. And finally, we have the Web Application Security Consortium, which produces open source best practice for web applications. Its mission is to develop, adopt, and advocate standards for web application security. So again, it uses the open source concept to be able to develop these different standards. On the other side, we also have initiatives that are driven by national authorities and private initiatives. So the National Authority Initiative listed on here is the Common Criteria, which is a framework in which computer system users can specify their security, functional, and assurance requirements. And countries will then sign this Common Criteria Recognition Agreement in order to rely on these Common Criteria certificates, which it can be really useful to be backed by a national authority, since they are then able to kind of have some sort of backing that's more substantial than open source might be considered. And on the other hand, we have SafeCode, which is a private initiative. It's a software assurance forum and excellence for code, SafeCode, and it's privately held and outputs documents to help with more secure code. So privately, the main advantage would probably be that you just have one source, so it's easier to put out documents and keep everything together. Next up, we have mobile operating systems. So I'm just going to talk about the two big hitters today with Google and Apple. Google is free open source OS based on the Linux kernel. In my opinion, this makes it easier to develop on, and that could be part of the explanation as to why Android has the highest number of applications. When you're just looking at numbers, Google definitely has the most. Apple, on the other hand, is completely the opposite. They have their own software development kit, and the application can only be loaded onto the device through the App Store, which is the property of Apple. So the developers are a little more bound by that. Apple does provide a secure coding guide for developers, so that can be nice. And Yeah, in my opinion, it just makes it a lot easier if it's open source to be able to share ideas and just talk about different items. So Google is the way to go, again, in my opinion. Some of the initiatives also deal with training courses and certifications. Start off with training. For example, there's a course called Secure Coding in C and C++, and this is mostly about teaching developers the common programming errors, like SQL injection, that you're going to run into out there. The threat modeling is how to identify threats, what kind of threats are going to be out there. And then Google Career is actually an interesting one because it is teaching you how to basically hack your web applications. So it kind of puts you in the mindset of someone who is a hacker and try to get in that mindset rather than you're defending. You need to also know how are they attacking, which is interesting. As far as certifications, there's a number of them as well. The Certified Information Security Manager, or CSIM, is just kind of a validation of knowledge for managers. They know what's going on so they can better talk to developers as well. And then there's also Certified Ethical Hacker, CEH, which, as you might imagine, is teaching ethical hacking to, or not teaching, testing ethical hacking for developers. Certifications can provide validation that the person has that security knowledge, and training courses can teach the security information. So they're both very valuable for security initiatives. Finally, we need to talk about security in the software development lifecycle, which is SDLC. There's a definite emphasis on putting security in early in the software development lifecycle and often. So many emphasize the importance of including security early in the SDLC, such as OWASP, Microsoft Security Development Lifecycle, and Common Attack Pattern Enumeration and Classification, or CAPEC. So in conclusion, we have many different initiatives that a wide variety of sources, from open source to government to privately driven. And I personally think that the open source has the best results, as the developers can contribute in their own way, and it's just easier to see the inner workings, and it's good to have an open, honest attitude about these sort of security issues so that we can all take a look. The government-driven ones definitely have their purpose, so that they come from a national standing. Additionally, we also have training courses that and certifications, and they provide education and information validation for managers, security personnel, and software developers. They're a key initiative that should definitely be included in software security initiatives. And then we need to have, as it's been stated in many reports, security should be built in, not bolted on. But we need to include security at the beginning and just consider it all throughout the software development lifecycle, especially at the beginning, as then we're going to have the best security. And I mean, all these software security initiatives can have an impact, and they definitely help prevent security vulnerabilities. That's the end of my presentation. My name is CSC716Presentation2Popko. Thank you.